What is going on, everybody? Um, Welcome to another edition of Prime Sports World. Here, bringing you college basketball madness here on Saturday, Super Saturday, baby. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast here at Prime Sports World. And in case you missed us, you can catch us on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard, as well as our new website that we just launched today. Go check out the article I just wrote about reimagining the All-Star game. You can catch that on PSWMG.com, ladies and gentlemen. PSWMG.com. It's Prime Sports World brings the heat everywhere you go. So now you can catch us on all platforms, including our own website, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, got a lot to do. We got Super Saturday already kicked off already with Houston and Baylor. Hell of a game right now. I mean, I believe it's pretty much in the books. Baylor's Houston's up 3 points right now with just under 1 point right now with just under 20 seconds to go, playing the foul game here. Baylor's up a point. Baylor just went up. 69-68. We're bringing live action here to you. This was my primetime matchup of the day. I was supposed to do this podcast yesterday. But yeah, it looks like number 11 Baylor. It looks like the student section is about to storm the court tonight, this morning, because if Houston doesn't come back, I think they took a timeout here. Let me see what's going on in this game here. Oh, no, there was a foul. There was a foul on Damian Dunn now. 4 seconds left. Houston can go up 1 more point. So it doesn't look like Baylor is out of the woods yet. Actually, no. Oh, the and one was missed. The and one was missed. Oh, geez. Houston got the rebound. Oh, Houston wins it at the buzzer. Oh, my gosh. What? Oh, my goodness. Houston wins it at the buzzer. Oh, my gosh. Get out of here. Houston wins at the buzzer, 72-69. Houston over Baylor. What a hell of a game. What a hell of an ending to a game there. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry, Baylor. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that is unfortunate right there. That is unfortunate right there. Oh, man. Even if he would have made the free throw, I think Houston would have still won the game. You know, Missy missed the free throw. Missy missed the free throw here to bring him to go up 1, and he missed it. Juwan Roberts got the defensive rebound. Timeout, Baylor. Oh, they didn't count it. They didn't count it. That 3 was not counted. They're going to OT, ladies and gentlemen. They are going to OT. The 3 did not count. This is going into extra overtime. Wow, we are fortunate right here. This is live. This is live right now, man. This is live. 69-69 still. I'm not sure. I'm looking at the game cast. I'm not sure if this is I'm not particularly sure if this is in, man, I'd have to, you know what? Let me get, where's my remote at? Where's my remote at? Because I got CBS. Where's the remote at, son? I gotta look at this game. We gotta watch this game. We gotta watch this game. We gotta keep the kids out. We got to watch this game while it's going on here. This is incredible. This is incredible. Hold on here. You know, when I was supposed to, I had Baylor losing this one. I think Baylor, if I'm not mistaken, Baylor squeaked out one this past Thursday versus TCU, or was it Wednesday versus TCU? TCU had them on the ropes. If I'm not mistaken, it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday. No, Baylor lost. Baylor went into BYU. My bad. Baylor went into BYU and almost and BYU shook them up a little bit. BYU's a tough place to play. BYU's actually been holding their own in the Big 12 here. But you got Texas Tech squeaked out one versus TCU. That's the game I was referring to. Incredible that Baylor. This is incredible stuff. I have to bring this up live while we're on the podcast. I don't care if this keeps going. I mean, this is incredible stuff here. Oh, I know I could watch this game, son. That's why look. All I know is the Big 12 is a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet out here, man. The Big 12 is a gauntlet out here. And when it comes down to it, when it comes down to it, like basketball in the Big 12 is really good. Big 10, Big 12, the ACC, which is kind of way having a somewhat of a down year this year. But we gotta pull this game up. We gotta pull this up. We gotta pull this up. We gotta pull this up right now. Oh, it's in OT. It's in OT right now. We'll let you know as the game's going on. This is live stuff right here. Baylor and Houston. Look it up. Baylor's up 2 at home. I think the student section's they're gonna crash the court today. I think Houston on got it in. This is a slobber knocker right here. This is a hell of a game right here. 2 well coached teams. With Scott Drew and now it's tied here. But this is 2 well coached teams here. Here with Baylor and Houston. This is big implications for the Big 12 right here, especially the regular season. But like I said, Scott Drew, Kelvin Sampson, 2 well coached teams here, going at it against each other. It looks like Baylor's going to get on the line again. Oh no, Baylor's got the ball outside. But anyways, let's move on with the show here. Recapping the madness. Look, last week, number 6 Iowa State, they lost to this same Houston team as the rankings did come out. The top 25 rankings did come out. Number 15 Creighton. I'll go over specific games. Number 15 Creighton, they throttled UConn 85-66. I watched this game in particular. I always said it. UConn, they've only lost 3 games this season. One was to Seton Hall, one was to Kansas, and the third one is to Creighton. Tristan Newton had a hell of a game, 27-12. Donovan Clingan didn't have a great game, but I also like to tell you, when you can counter with size on UConn, and you can shoot the basketball, which Creighton can really shoot. They shot 50% from 3. It's the same thing when they lost to Seton Hall, which throws out a 4-guard lineup. Seton Hall shot the leather off the ball, as I like to say, and they beat UConn. If you can outshoot UConn and bring some size, UConn has some trouble with you. UConn has some trouble with you. And I personally think that, and I did mention this. I said, hey, Creighton has a shot. Creighton has a shot to possibly, beat UConn, this week. Obviously, they got the size with Caravan and Clingan for UConn. But, when you bring in, Ryan Kalkbrenner, I mean, he's a guy that's 7'2" as well. He's a big guy, but he can shoot the rock. He can shoot the basketball. He's one of the better stretch fives in college basketball. So this is when you can counter with size, you can bring some of that size out of the paint. I think you can have a good chance against UConn. That's what happened in this game last week. Um, Next game, LSU storming the floor against Kentucky. That was a hell of a game. That was a hell of a game there. And that was a much needed game for LSU, too. I mean, I know LSU doesn't really have a chance. I know with strength of schedule and everything, they're 14 and 12. This is a team that it's have a program having a down year, a couple down years here. But if they can catch fire, going into the SEC tournament, bad loss for Kentucky against LSU, but hell of a game here. Antonio Reeves, had led the way with 25 points. Tyrell Ward, hell of a game, 17 points, and he hit that last second shot as the fans stormed the court. You saw Angel Reese hugging them and everything. The LSU women's Lady Tigers were in the building as well as LSU. Beat Kentucky in this game. Two things I would say: shot 45% from the three. We always say this about Kentucky. They're the best. They're one of the best offensive teams, but one of the worst defensive teams in college basketball. And it showed. They got out-rebounded. They turned the ball over 13 times. They also turned LSU over 14 times, but didn't get many points off those turnovers. But, I mean, it was a close game. It was nip and tuck. And Houston is up 2 right now, ladies and gentlemen, on Baylor. Hell of a game right here that's going on. We'll let you. I'll bring you the live updates here. I think Baylor might be going to the line right now. And then the last game that we have on the slate, number 21, Washington State upsets number 4 Arizona this past week as well. In Arizona, believe they beat them by 3 points there. But yeah, this is a Washington State team. I mean, unranked, but much very well coached as well. They're 21-6. They're 12-4 in the Pac-12. I mean, they're not unranked. 21. They're number 21. Washington State. I think I had it unranked. No. But anyways, this is a team that's well coached. They have shooters all over the floor. They're a team come tournament time that can cause some problems for guys. Jalen Wells had a hell of a game. 27 points, 9-16 from the field, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. He had that big 4-point play late where he got fouled on the corner 3, where he was able to where they were able to take the lead and pretty much finish off Arizona in that game. But I mean, that was a very close game as well. They shot 33% from the 3-point lane, only turned the ball over 9 times, and they were right there with Arizona. Arizona was only a +1. We like to mention, Arizona can out rebound teams sometimes if you can stick with them. Arizona can be other teams can stick with Arizona and not let them out rebound and get those second chance points and have them get out and running as well. Then Washington. Then other teams have a great shot at beating Arizona. But this is one of those games. Caleb Love had another fantastic game. 27 points. He should probably be moved into the Naismith Player of the Year watch for Prime Sports World because Caleb Love has had a fantastic, probably his best collegiate season in his career. For Caleb Love transferring to Arizona, it was a seamless transition here. But this is a big game, in terms of Pac-12 conference standings, right? Washington State moves into the lead over Arizona in the Pac-12 standings. This game is coming down to the wire here. Baylor's got the ball. Oh, wow. Offensive interference over for Baylor here. 75-72 Houston. I don't know. That ball's coming off. They just call it offensive basket interference. That ball might have been coming off the rim. I'm not sure. That ball was coming off the rim. I don't know if that was over the cylinder. Might be over the cylinder still. So this bucket is probably going to get overturned for Baylor. We're going to see a free throw shootout here coming down to the wire. But anyways, moving on to the top 25 here. The AP top 25, man. Yeah, this was shaking up a little bit as UConn stays in the top slot. I know they had a tough loss against Creighton, but they also beat Marquette, who was ranked number 4 last Saturday. They throttled Marquette. I really thought that was a bad matchup. Marquette's a smaller team. UConn's got a lot of size all over the floor. Thought that was a big win for UConn, which is reason why they stay at number 1. They only got 3 losses. We're not going to penalize UConn for losing in a tough environment in Creighton. Number 2, we got Houston moving up a slot. Number 3, Purdue moves down a slot. Purdue, also they also got upset as well. Which is another reason why they moved down in the rankings. They lost to Ohio State 73-69, but they came back with a vengeance and beat Rutgers 96-68. Zach Edey had I think he had like 25 and 10 or something like that in that game. Let's look at what he had. He had 25 and 7 with 1 assist, 2 blocks, and 1 steals. He also had a good game against Ohio State, 22 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks. But he also had 6 turnovers against Ohio State, which came key down the stretch there for Ohio State beating Purdue. And then obviously number 4, Arizona moved up a slot, and Tennessee moved up 3 slots. This is Rick Barnes, probably his best team there in Tennessee. Dalton Connect, which is crazy. I love that name, Dalton Connect, because that dude is a flat out shooter, and he's connecting from 3, at will this season. But Dalton Connect, has great size. Has great shooting ability. They beat Vandy. They beat Missouri in their last game this past week. As he had, Dalton Connect had a pretty damn good game in that game as well. He had the big shot to pretty much put him away. Big long 3 from Curryland to put Missouri away. He scored 17 second half points as well in that basketball game. And then moving forward, that was the top 5. And then round out the top 6, we'll go quick style here. We got Iowa State moving up 4 slots. We got number 7, Marquette, moving down 3 slots. Number 8, Duke, moving up a slot. Number 9, Kansas moving down 3 slots, in the top 25. And then round out the top 10 is North Carolina moving down 3 slots this week. And then 5-point game here. Houston's up 5. Doesn't look like Houston's going to give up this lead unless something miraculous happens here. But it doesn't look like UConn's going to give up that lead here. UNC, losing to Syracuse. Not losing to Syracuse, but they beat Virginia Tech last Saturday, 96-81. Virginia Tech, pretty bad team, but other teams kind of moved into that top slot as well. And then rounding out the top 25, we got Baylor moving up a slot. This is not a bad win, not a bad loss against Houston if they do lose to this game to Houston here. Number 12, we have Illinois, who had a rough game this past game versus Maryland or versus Penn State, as they lose a close one. I mean, they just gave that one up to Maryland, to Penn State, 90-89. But they've been, pretty hot, pretty good, the last, month or so. Illinois has been up there in the rankings here. Looks like Baylor's might go to the line here. Yeah, it doesn't look like Houston's going to give up this lead here against. It doesn't look like Houston's going to give up this lead against Baylor. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Moving on to number 13, Alabama moving up a couple slots. Number 14, Auburn moving down a slot here from 13 to 14, and then we got Creighton moving up 2 slots against this week. And these came out last Monday, and they come out every Monday. I assume Creighton will probably, with Illinois losing, depending on Alabama, Kentucky. If Alabama loses Kentucky. I believe Auburn has a big game as well here this week. I have that on my calendar here. Auburn going up against Georgia. Auburn's probably going to win that game. But if it looks like, this is what it looks like. UNC goes against Virginia this week. UNC probably will win that game. Kansas going number 9 going up against Kansas going up against Texas this week today. Creighton's moving in the top 10, in my opinion. That's a big win versus UConn. I think Creighton moves up 5 slots right to number 10, maybe even the number 8. Duke plays Wake Forest. Was a big game for Wake Forest as they're on a bubble there. So I think Creighton does move into the top 10 after this week. At number 16, we got Dayton, who's probably going to move down a couple slots as they got upset by George Mason this past week. At number 17, Kentucky, like I said, they can redeem themselves a little bit by beating Alabama this week. I know losing to LSU and a heartbreaker hurts them a little bit, in the rankings, but I like Kentucky versus Alabama. I think Kentucky's a bad matchup for Alabama. I think those guys get out and run. Give me Kentucky to win that basketball game. We'll get to it. And then at number 18, St. Mary's. Cream of the crop in the WCC this year. St. Mary's is Gonzaga's having a down year. But yeah, St. Mary's is a team to is probably going to stay the same. Probably move up 1 or 2 slots here this year. Gonzaga's 2 games back of St. Mary, 21-6, 11-2 in the conference. And then you got number 19, San Diego State, and then round at the top 20, we got South Carolina, who has a big game. If I'm not mistaken, South Carolina has a big game against Ole Miss this week at Ole Miss today. And then number 21, Washington, going up against Arizona State today. They should be able to win that game. They're probably going to move up more slots too. I expect Washington State to probably move up into the top 15 with their big win against Arizona this past week. And then round the top 25, we got number 22, Colorado State, number 23, Texas Tech, and number 24, Florida. And then round the top 25, we got BYU, who's probably going to move up a few slots, probably into the top 20 as well. San Diego State, I know they moved up 10 slots. They lost to Utah State in Utah State. Utah State's a pretty damn good team. I expect Utah State to make the tournament this year. But yeah, Utah State's probably going to move into the top 25, possibly. Depends on everything, how everything else shakes out. I think if Virginia can beat UNC, they're in. Let me think. South Carolina lose to Ole Miss, they're probably out. Gonzaga's in. Michigan State's been playing great basketball. They'll probably be in next. But Utah State, with that big win against San Diego State, they should be on the next round. They should be probably the next ones in the top 25. After this week, depends on how the week plays. But they split that series with San Diego State, this past week. And it looks like Houston pulled off the win against Baylor, so that's a big one. That's a big one for Houston. Man, Baylor had it, man. Oh my gosh, man. Baylor had them. If Houston, if they would have made, if Baylor would have made the free throw there at the end of the regulation, Houston shot would have never counted, and Baylor would have won that basketball game. So crazy how everything kind of pans out here. Super Saturday games to watch. We just watched the Houston just beat Baylor. That was my primetime matchup of the week. And then we got number 8 Duke going up against Wake Forest. Yeah, this is a big game for Wake Forest. As they're on the bubble. Um, I got to, I gotta, you know, I don't want to say this. I want to say Wake Forest may have a chance against Duke, but then they don't have a chance against Duke. Give me Duke. Let me see what the spread is here for the game. In a game just tipped off. Duke is winning 21-16. Believe the live spread. Where's the live spread on here? Give me Duke by 5. Tough place to play. I think, Wake Forest, really talented team. They really need this win, so they're going to come out with their best foot forward to try and win this basketball game here today. Actually, Wake Forest just took the lead here as we're pulling up on some live feeds here. We're pulling up with live news here. Number 20, South Carolina going into Ole Miss to play Ole Miss. That one tips off at 2:30 p.m. Ole Miss needing a win. There's another team. I think they're on the fringe on the bubble here as well as one of those teams that are with 19 wins. They're a 3.5-point favorite to win this basketball game against South Carolina. I do expect Ole Miss to win this game. I think that Ole Miss, when it comes down to it, they're 14-1 on their home court. They rarely lose. And they pretty much outscore their teams by 3 to 4 points on their home court this season. So give me the Running Rebels to win this basketball game. I think some big matchups here that are coming down the lane involve some non-ranked teams just because of like bubble purposes and stuff. As we're approaching the tournament, got teams like Wake Forest, teams like Ole Miss, teams like Texas. Texas boasts a and this is a former top 25 team, but Texas boasts a strength of not a harder strength of schedule than some teams that have 20, 21 teams that are unranked, 21 wins that are unranked. I like Texas to kind of go into Kansas and shake some things up. Kansas hasn't played well, and particularly in the last. They had that 3-game losing streak. They had a little bit of a losing streak. Coming forward, they've dropped down out of the top 5. I like Texas to win that basketball game. Number 10 North Carolina versus Virginia. That's another big game as well for Virginia. I think Virginia gets into the tournament. They don't have to be ranked to get into the tournament. They have a hell of a strength of schedule as well. I like Virginia. I don't think Virginia's a fringe team. They're not a bubble team. I think Virginia does get in. We'll probably have about 6 or 7 teams from the ACC getting in. RJ Davis, Armando Bacot had great games against Virginia Tech. Armando Bacot had 25 and 10, I think, against North Carolina. Virginia's 14-1 at home this season. They barely lose at home. North Carolina's a 2.5-point favorite. Virginia's obviously 2.5-point underdog. North Carolina's 12-3 in conference play. They're a big. This is a key to this game. Virginia's obviously they're gonna want to shoot that basketball. They're gonna want to shoot that basketball. Virginia plays really good perimeter defense. I think they hold their opponents to under 40% shooting this year under 40% shooting. If you can crash the boards hard against North Carolina, which I think they probably won't win in that category, I I think Virginia has a really great shot. If Virginia can, make their shots, make their threes at home, get the crowd going. I like Virginia to win this basketball game. Watch out for Isaac McNeely, who's averaging 12.4 points, shooting 46% behind the arc as well. Reese Beekman's another guy, shooting 44%, averaging 15 points per game over the last 10 games. Then obviously you got your big boys, RJ Davis, who's he's the North Carolina leading scorer, and Armando Bacot should have big games against Virginia. Give me Virginia with the upset at home as they storm the court and beat top 10 UNC. And then the next game we got on the slate, we got number 13 Alabama going up against number 17 Kentucky. Like I said, I like Kentucky to win this basketball game at home. They lost a close one to LSU. I think this is a bad matchup for Alabama. I think this Kentucky team, can get out and run back and forth. So give me Kentucky to win that basketball game. And then I spoke a little bit on Texas going into number 9 Kansas. They really need this win. This is a big game for them as well. Kansas is the 8.5-point favorite there at home. But I do believe, like I said, man, look, in the last 5 games, Kansas is 3-2. Last win coming against Oklahoma, 67-57, but they got throttled by 29 points against Texas Tech. Lost a close one to Kansas State, 75-70. Beat Baylor at home. But like I said, at home, they're money. I mean, the last 2 games at home that they won were against Baylor and Houston this month, and both ranked teams in the top 15, right? The 2 games that they lost against Texas Tech and Kansas State were on the road against Texas Tech, which we saw Texas Tech, pull out a tough win at TCU, a tough win against TCU in on their home court, and then Kansas State on the road as well, just after winning against Houston. And then when you look at Kansas, when you look at Texas, they beat Kansas State. They lost to Houston by 20 as well this past week, but or was that this past week? This was last Saturday. But they beat West Virginia. They lost to Iowa State. They beat a tough TCU team on the road as well. These are the last 5 games this past month. But like I said, Max Adams, who hasn't really, who last, couple games, I think his last game, he only had 8 points against Kansas State. Against Houston, 7 points. They're going to need more from him, right? In the last 2 games, Max Adams is 1 of 10 from 3-point land. Shooting under 20%. From percentages is like 10% from 3-point land. He's gonna have to get to the free throw line a little bit more. He's averaging, on average, about getting to the line about 4 or 5, possibly 6 times. I know the games that he won against the game against TCU got to the line 7 times. Game against Iowa State got to the line 7 times. It was 7-7 from 3, for 7-7 from the stripe. Against West Virginia, they need a guy that's going to shoot 41. They need the Max Adams going to shoot 41% from 3-point lane, like he did against West Virginia, in order for them to have a chance in this game. But yeah, 7 points isn't going to cut it from their senior leader there for Texas. On the other side, obviously, I mean, you got to keep Texas off the board. I mean, Hunter Dickinson had himself, in their last game, he had himself a hell of a game. I think he had 20 and 16. Look, Dylan Dessou also is another one for Texas. He's going to have to be big for them against Kansas if they're able to win. Kansas is undefeated. They haven't lost a game at home this season. They're 2-0 in 1 possession games this year. So, this is a tough team to beat at home, tough team to beat in close games. And Texas is one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the Big 12. They average, 36.8% from the 3-point line, from the 3-point range. So this is a team that, if they get hot, Kansas, could be in trouble a little bit here. I don't expect Kansas to be in trouble. I expect, Texas, they're looking like a bubble team. This is a big win for them. If they can win this game against Kansas, this can bolster their pitch to the committee, right? This can bolster their pitch for NCAA tournament bid this season. Obviously, you're gonna have to limit Kevin McCullough, who is averaging 19 points per game, but the last couple games he's been a little lukewarm. Like I said, Hunter Dickinson has been the guy. I mean, last week, last game they played, Hunter Dickinson had a hell of a game for them. So I expect Kansas to win this game. I will go. I'd actually go more than 8.5. I like the 8.5 point spread, but I'm actually going to go with the 12. I think the Kansas to win by more than that. I think they'll win by double digits, 10 to 12 points. I just don't see Texas being able to beat them on the glass, being able to, match the energy that they're going to have at Allen Fieldhouse. So give me the Kansas Jayhawks to win that basketball game against Texas. And then our Nations player of the year watch, we got Zach Edey here at the top. Still, we got some changes here. Dalton connects right there at number 2. I moved Hunter Dickinson up a slot. He had a big game in his last game for Kansas. RJ Davis had him and Armando Bacot had big games against Virginia Tech. They're both sitting there at 4 and 5. Right there, my dark horse, Tristan Newton, in the loss against Creighton, had him a tremendous game, over 25 points. And 8 rebounds, if I'm not mistaken. Kyle Flipkowski, who's been steady as they come this year, and Johnny Broom, who filled the stat sheet this past week. He had a couple blocks, couple steals. He's a guy that pretty much does it all for Auburn when it comes down to it. But yeah, he's a guy that I think the last game he had like 3 blocks, 2 steals. Yeah, 3 blocks, 2 assists, 1 steal, 14 points, 11 rebounds in the loss to Kentucky last Saturday. So looking at, kind of build on that against a weaker opponent in Georgia. They're going to have to bring that effort, more of an effort than they did against Kentucky, as Auburn is one of the, better defensive teams in the nation. So I do like, Johnny Broom to kind of climb up the rankings a little bit here. But I think Zach Edey, is probably your clear-cut favorite. After a while, it kind of gets redundant saying that. But, he's just, a double-double machine. He's just far ahead of the competition. He's just so big. He's got great touch. He's got great feel out the post. He knows how to pass. He can block shots. A little bit, a little slow-footed. I don't think his game really translates to the next level like that. But at the college level, Zach Edey is a hell of a player, very skilled big man. If he could just, when it comes to the next level, and I hate talking about next level stuff, going to the pros or whatever, when these guys are still in college. But Zach Edey, if he can, get better footwork, get faster, get more fleet of feet, because you're going to go against guys like Victor Wembanyama. You're gonna go against guys like AD. You're gonna go against Nikola Jokic, who isn't the fastest, but look, Nikola Jokic can still get up and down that floor effectively. We've seen how skilled he is. But you're gonna get guys in the NBA that like a Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, guys that can take you off the dribble. If you can't keep up, at the next level, I don't know what to tell you, but at this level, Zach Edey is the perfect fit for Purdue in that offense and for the college basketball system. So he's been, lights out the last couple years in college basketball. But anyways, folks, this has been a wrap for College Basketball Madness. I do thank you for, whoever watched the show. Do thank you for joining on as we brought some live stuff here, live game action from Baylor and Houston. Congratulations to the Houston Cougars for winning that game in Baylor. Tough game, tough environment. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And in case you missed it, you can catch us on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. And also catch our new website here at pswmg.com. Again, that is www.pswmg.com. Go ahead and catch the latest article or the first article of the website that I dropped here reimagining the NBA All-Star game. Don't want to miss that hot content here from Prime Sports World. But, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back here tomorrow as we break down the NBA with the crossover. As David, me, and TJ will come back here and talk about some NBA basketball. Talk about the competitiveness and the of the NBA this season, in terms of the amount of blowout wins and blowout losses that we're seeing this year, and why has the state of the competitiveness in the NBA. So you guys don't want to miss that hot content. Also, baseball season is back, ladies and gentlemen. So you don't want to miss rounding the bases as I start to bring home the team previews here for Prime Sports World. You guys don't want to miss that content, or the conference previews. You guys don't want to miss that content here for rounding the bases as spring training has come into fold so far. So baseball season right around the corner here. Very, very exciting stuff for Prime Sports World. You guys don't want to miss it. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, in case I miss you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Sayonara, suckers. Signing out. Israel Rivera. See you guys tomorrow.